All right, welcome back, guys. Today we are going to be looking at the Monday market report. All right, so this signals really the end of the week and the beginning of a new, fresh week. This is, of course, the report for the week ending July 17th, 2022. This is the video where we take a look at the most relevant post-1900 modern graded coins to have sold here this past week, and all the coins coming from great collections. I would say they are the undisputed, like top 2 or 3 auction houses going on right now, especially for graded material. They do weekly auctions, and if you're looking to consign or buy, they are one of the premier sites for your nice coins. So go ahead and check them out, greatcollections.com. Like I said, these are all graded coins, and the market continues to show lots of strength in certain areas, a little bit of weakness in others. This week, however, we have a few Jefferson Nickels that kind of took a few people by surprise, and there's a really good reason why that all of a sudden there is some demand for 1980s full steps graded Jefferson Nickels. We're going to talk about that here in this video. But alongside that, we see a lot of the regular staples continue to make movement in the marketplace. Of course, a lot of that is driven by the ever popular registry set program. That is pretty crazy. All right, so yeah, no doubt about it that sector of numismatics continues to show just really strong performance any time of the year. And seeing as how we're in the middle, knee deep in the middle of summer, seeing the market activity on the registry set side is no surprise, and it's going to continue to get stronger and stronger the more people that get into it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump in. Of course, these are all finished sales as of right now. If you guys catch this tomorrow on a Monday, I wish you guys a fantastic week. Don't work so hard, and take a little bit of a breather. Come check out the Monday market report with your favorite beverage. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump right in, see what we have. All right, so we're going to start it off very strong with a couple of really nice modern proof Lincoln cents. All right, so this Lincoln Memorial Cents, a 1981S. It is indeed the Type 1 mint mark. All right, and in case you guys don't know or aren't familiar with this date, there are 2 different styles of mint marks, a Type 1 and a Type 2. If you need more clarification, there's plenty of resources online. You can even go on to PCGS's website to see specifically what the Type 1 and Type 2 mint marks on all 1981 proof coins look like. But we're kicking it off here with a perfect graded Proof 70 red deep cameo coin. It looks the part. This thing is a stunner. Of course, PCGS graded, and more than likely this is going to be headed to some high-profile registry set that needs the perfect grade. This one ended up selling for $2,418.75. And then coming up next, we have a pretty tough date here, 1971S. This one also a proof Lincoln Memorial Cent. A little bit tougher to find the deep cameo coins once you get, south of, like, say, 1973. Some of them come either cameo or deep cameo, and then when you get even older than that, in the 60s, they are just really scarce. So this one right here, a very nice, strong candidate for a registry set. It has to be. It's one of the top graded examples out there. This one is a Proof 69. Full red, deep cameo by PCGS, as you can see. And this one, believe it or not, sold for a lot more than the 81 you just saw at $2,531.25. Just a stunner. Lots of darkness in the field area. Highly contrasted against some of the frosting that you see on the devices. That is exactly what people are looking for when they're going for these. All right, the next one that we have here, now we're kind of back down to earth with some business strikes. Okay, this one here is a surprising inclusion on the list, considering that it is not the top pop grade. It's a 1964D Lincoln Memorial set. It's been quite some time since we've profiled any sort of 1960s business strike coin here on the list, but sure enough, we got one here for you. PCGS Mid-State 66 Red is the second tier best of grade that you could find of this coin. 67 is the highest. This one ended up selling for $1,505.25. Again, a registry set coin all day long here. Continuing on with more reg set coins, 58 is a tough one. This is a really tough date right here in grades above Mid-State 66. So this one is a PCGS Mid-State 67 Red. All of the, I would say, Philadelphia minted examples of the 50s all have their own kind of challenging traits to them. One of the biggest parts is just the overall, I don't know, bad quality of the planchets showing through on a lot of them. You know, they translate into tiny little nicks that you would think would be a result of just the coins clanging together, what they call like bag marks, you know. But the planchets were pretty well beat up even before the coins were struck. And even without a full strike, the planchet nicks will end up showing on all the coins. So that's kind of been one of the things that have plagued the 1950s Lincolns for the longest time. But if you're able to score yourself a 67 in most of the dates, they are quite valuable. 58, I would say, among all the others, is one of the least, I guess, valuable of the 67s. This one ended up selling for $1,468.12. Now here's a good one right here. This is about as clean as it gets for a 51S. And yeah, registry set all day long. There were a number of registry set Lincolns that finished today. I could have made a list of about 15 to 20 coins just on kind of like these later dated Lincolns. But we didn't want to do that. I didn't want to bore you to death. But this is a very strong, well-struck San Francisco minted example. Most of them are, but 67 is just leagues beyond anything else you ever see. You're going to find that this one has a much cleaner field area than the previous coin. All right, so comparing Philadelphia to San Francisco, it's like apples and oranges. There's just no comparison whatsoever. This one sold for $2,556 in what I would say is a landmark sale of this coin. And same here with this one. Another San Francisco. This one is a 1950, also graded as a Mid-State 67 Red by PCGS. Showing just a lot more kind of the darker coppery color on this date. Not a grade that you would typically come across if you were brave enough to send these off to PCGS. The coin has to be predominantly clean, and it's all right. This is another stunner right here. This one sold for $2,531.25. All right, and the biggest Lincoln out of the whole bunch this week is one that a lot of people try to cherry pick, but with very little success. I had the opportunity to pick up one of these raw back at about 2007, and by the time I got back to the coin shop to buy it at $75 for a brilliant mid-state example, it sold pretty quickly. Yeah, I was a little sad. I was a little sad because it was cheap, and it could have graded as 67. That's how strongly I believe that coin would have graded. And yeah, I haven't seen another one since. These things are rare. They're highly pursued, and they are one of the big chase-worthy varieties for this unique one-year date composition, being that it's a Steely. This is a Mid-State 67. You can see it's CAC certified. Great RPM here. It's in the Cherry Picker's Guide as well. The coin, you can see, has the mint mark that is punched southwest of the primary. Okay, it's a very strong one. You won't mistake this for anything else other than an RPM. This coin ended up selling, and this hurts my heart, for $10,081.12. Just a really strong performer. and a coin that you don't typically see in the open market, especially one that grades out like this. All right, well, we are to the main focal kind of topic of the week. We have a pair of 1980s Jefferson Nickels that all of a sudden came out of left field. These are, of course, coins that are going to end up in a registry set, and that's kind of the big reason why they're here. With all of the talk and the hubbub of the 50s and 60s, just really rare full step kind of nickels that you could try and chase out there. 1980s nickels have slowly risen up from the deep and have come out of nowhere. And we've seen a number of marquee sales here in the last few weeks. And then finally we have a few this week. We had two back-to-back just beautiful 80s nickels. A lot tougher than it looks. If you guys are out there trying to chase a full steps 1980s nickel, kind of difficult. Especially, in 82 and 83 when there were no mint sets made. So you would have to kind of source out some BU rolls to find these. This one is a 67. It says full steps there on the label by PCGS. This one ended up selling for $1,856.25. But the big one, of course, out of the two is this one here, 1983D. This one, however, is a 66 full steps. So I could tell you that this is a very tough date to, or a grade to achieve. I probably have seen, maybe one or two of these a year sell. That's how infrequently these pop up. But when one comes across, you better believe that it's going to be chased after. There's going to be a number of people that are going to be bidding up against each other in some sort of bidding war to obtain it. This one right here ended up selling for $3,125. And yeah, to a registry set, individual looking for this, it's very much worth it. I know that seems like the irrational thing to say, especially for a lot of just regular coin collectors that don't see a lot of value in the registry set philosophy. But again, these type of folks that collect into these have relatively deep pockets, so you got to keep that in mind. All right, so we have a 1967. Now this one is really tough. It has no steps whatsoever. That's plain to see, and PCGS notes it. But as you guys know, they did not make a mint set in 67, or 66, or 65. You're going to have to go down to the very bowels, the very deep of just old Jefferson Nickels sets from yesteryear. I mean, these were easier to find back in the day, but today, seeing as how there's really no source of these that you can search through, that's what makes these really tough. And then the full steps, yeah, that designation alone will put these into a completely different level. So it's a mid-state 66. It doesn't look like much, nothing really to write home to mother about. But when it comes to adding something like this as a place marker in the hopes of finding a much higher grade, I mean, you take what you could get. This one ended up selling for $1,152, and it's also worth mentioning that this is a Key West collection coin. So we do have a couple Buffalo nickels. Last week we had a very pretty 1936D 3.5 leg variety Buffalo that sold really well. This week we have a 37D 3-legger. All right, this is the one that everybody's familiar with. This is a really good grade for investors, for collectors, registry sets. Yeah, there's a few that probably want this. But just having an exceptional example is noteworthy, to any collection. This one is a mid-state 63. It's also cat green beaned as well. You can see the 3 legs, very strong with all of the relevant markers that's necessary for the coin. This one ended up selling for $6,828.75. You won't find another just honest looking coin like this one. All right, and not a variety. This is a 1936 Buffalo right here. It's also a Denver minted example as well. Just good looking mid-state example. It's not the highest grade. It's not, it's not really anything to shy away from. But, you know, if you're looking for the secondary tier of coin to maybe add to just a US type set, this is a good one right here. It's NGC graded mid-state 67 plus, showing tons of luster. These things were really blast white back in their day. This one sold for $1,518.75. Again, just a really nice secondary tier of mid-state coin. I would be proud to own a 67 plus. It's just a grade that you don't see too often. And then a 29D, this one is actually quite tough. It's a mid-state 65 example here. Shows a lot of just really strong strike characteristics to it. 29D can be kind of hit or miss with the strike. There could be a lot of flatness to it. And the luster isn't particularly strong on most examples. But this one looks pretty good, all right? And, you know, again, 65 is nothing to sneeze at. It can go into a registry set, but true diehard Buffalo nickel collectors that aren't necessarily in the registry set game will want something like this. This one sold for $2,818.12. Now, we do have a few dimes, and I'm glad to talk about this one because, you know, much like the Nickels, strike designation is a pretty big deal on a lot of these coins. And, you know, when they're not there, some people do get kind of salty about it. But when coins come across that look like this, that are relatively clean in spite of the flat strike, I mean, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. This 44S San Francisco minted coins from the Mercury Dime series and the Walking Liberty House can be a little bit sketchy, you know, as far as strike quality goes. So that's always something to keep in mind. But this one right here has that kind of like bullseye toning right in the middle of the coin that I think a lot of people, a lot of purists do like. Mid-State 68, man, that's a really high graded example. This one right here sold for $1,181.25. I could only imagine how much a coin of this type would be worth if it had full steps. I can't even speculate. It's going to be a very expensive coin. And here's a 38D too. This is you know, kind of like one of my favorite dates. 38D is a scarce semi-key date for Walking Liberty half dollars, but not so much on Mercury dimes. But it, you know, any branch mid coin of the 30s, especially Mercury dimes, are very well collected. The Mercury dime series in itself is a top 5 most widely, you know, revered type of design. This one right here is a PCGS Mid-State 68 full bands. Shows every bit of that, along with all of just the kind of like neutral toning that is inoffensive and very, very market acceptable. This one sold for $3,099.38. Just a beautiful coin. Well, Holy Rarity Batman, 1955 Washington quarter, shows some toning. All right, that's a given. It's a very nice original coin, but a little something that you guys may not know. This is one of the, I guess, top 10 or so Washington quarters that are really rare in Mid-State 67 and up. Yes, yeah, you heard that right. Kind of hard to believe because there was a lot of other surrounding dates that easily hit 67 and up, sometimes 68 on certain occasions. So what gives on a 55? All right, so 55P, the strike is not particularly good. All right, 55D is another rarity as well in high grades, but not to the level of the 55. If you're able to score a 67 and higher of this coin, it is quite a rarity. And because this has kind of like the toning that, again, is more neutral to folks, you know, it just kind of adds that extra bit of bonus to anything that it sticks to. This one right here sold for $4,899.38. Again, probably more targeted for a registry set, but all in all, just a really good-looking coin. And we're going to wrap up the Monday Market Report this week with 2 of the Standing Liberty quarters. This one right here is a tough one. I wouldn't go on a limb and say that it's a key date or anything like that. It's just an overall really tough date. 24S Standing Liberty Quarter. The strikes and the luster are generally pretty well shot on these, as you would expect of any other 1920s minted coin. The quality was just not there at the time. So, and another thing to point out is that a lot of these coins were workhorses. A lot of them circulated. Very few of them were ever saved in the highest states of preservation. This one right here is a Mid-State 62 full head. Yeah, they actually gave a full head to this thing, but it's a very, very old graded coin. It's an original holder, green holder, I guess, from probably 20 years ago. I mean, not my personal favorite, but again, when there's no coins to find of this date or mint mark, you kind of take what you can get. This one has a pretty dark toning spot. It's got a myriad of various kind of milky, pasty white spots all over the place. But all in all, it looks like an otherwise untouched, unplayed with, undoctored coin. This one sold for $1,692.61. And then finally, this is actually one of my favorite dates of Standing Liberty Quarter. 1919s in general are kind of like that semi-key coin, and if you're able to get one in mid-state grades, respective of a strike designation, I think you're doing okay. These are coins that are going to be kind of like underrated, underappreciated, or somewhere along those lines, and they're not going to be really seen as truly strong regular key dates. It's not going to be like, a 1916 or a 26S or a few of those other dates. This one right here is a Mid-State 65 plus. No full head on it, of course. It's just a run-of-the-mill, very nice mid-BU coin that ended up selling for $3,858.25, or 29 cents rather. Well, a good way to kind of end it off here. You're going to see that on this week's edition of the MMR, a lot of kind of like, modern registry set coins. Something that's kind of been missing here in the last few weeks. But at the same time, you have the true classic staples that, again, even though they exist in the 20th century, there's no understating the importance of the coins in the market. And then ultimately, these are the coins that help anchor the overall health of the market as we continue on through the summer and into the holidays. So that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. I appreciate your guys' time checking out the MMR on Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my video if you enjoyed today's content. Don't forget to hit the like button. Oh, wait, I already said that, right? Or don't forget to check out my TikTok at Blue Ridge Silverhound. More videos are going to be coming up here toward the end of the month. But glad to be able to be of service to you. You guys take care. Enjoy the hobby. And I shall see you on the next video. Have a good week, guys.